Expose evil here. Like, share, subscribe. Today I'm doing a video to show what type of paperwork I file when I'm fighting my traffic tickets. And let me first say that this is not legal advice. This has to do with the rights of man. And I'm not an attorney. And if you hire an attorney, I believe that you are not a man. Let's just say that. But anyways, if you heard about the right to travel, challenging jurisdiction, man versus person, man versus corporation, if you're new to this is a good video to listen to. I'm going to reveal a lot here. So as you can see, I first did this in 2012. I filed in 2013. That was probably my court date, January 28th, 2013. But, first let me start off with, you want to file this type of paperwork into your file when you're going to court. Try to get in there at least 7 days before your court date. And what you want to do is you go to the court clerk, where, if you have to pay your fine, you will go to the court clerk and stand in that line. You stand in the same line, and then you take your paperwork and tell the clerk that you want to file this into your file. And, they have a file behind the desk with your name. And if you had past traffic tickets, it'll all be in there. So what you do is you take the original, you have them date stamp it, tell them to make copies, and put the copies into your file, and you keep the original for your, for your records. And they would like to throw this stuff away. They'll hide it. And the reason of getting it date stamped is to prove that you submitted it for any appeals that you have to do, if the judge acts like he doesn't have to listen. In my with my experience, the less talking you do, the better. When I first went in there, I tried all type of ways. I tried to ask the judge questions, if it's civil or if it's criminal, and if there's a criminal, provide the victim, and all this. I tried those different type of ways, and I never won. They just talked over me, did what they wanted, and from my experience, it's because I'm doing too much talking, and that's what's giving them jurisdiction. Now, the only time I ever won, which I say it all the time, when at Denali, New Jersey Municipal Court, is when I went in there and they called my name, and I said, I said my name. I'm a man known as so and so, in propria persona, sur juris, by way of threat, duress, and coercion, making a special visitation to see to it that my rights aren't violated. That's what it said. And the judge tried to ignore that and just say, "How do you plead?" And I said, "My paperwork speaks for me at all times." He tried to ignore it, and he asked me again, "How do I plead?" I said, "My paperwork speaks for me at all times." He asked again. I said, "My paperwork speaks for me at all times. It's in my file." He asked again. I said, "My paperwork speaks for me at all times. It's in my file in front of you." And then he finally opened my file, and he tried to act in front of the rest of the crowd. He said, "Oh yeah, I see your criminal history." He was said something dumb like that. Once he seen my paperwork, like my demand for discovery and inspection of evidence, my entry of I do not plead, as you see right here, and other paperwork like notice to dismiss, no case of controversy. And then he asked me to go speak to the prosecutor. And when I spoke to the prosecutor, I started arguing with him because he gave me a ticket driving without the permission of the owner. And then he gave the owner of the car that was there with me, letting him drive without permission. So it's like those two tickets cancel each other out. So I was arguing, saying, why would the cops say that? And we got so loud that the bailiff had to come running in. And then the prosecutor, I guess, looked at the note from the judge, took one look at my paperwork, and he dismissed the case. And I'm waiting on the transcripts now. It's been over a month. And this case was from 2014, 2015 maybe. It's been a long time, but so what you want to do is, once you state that, like I told you, you just stick to your paperwork. And then your paperwork is going to say the same thing. Alleged defendant, so-and-so, in propria persona sur juris, by way of threat, duress, and coercion, appearing especially and not generally without prejudice, while explicitly reserving all my inalienable rights and retaining all my liberties at all times, waiving no remedies, procedural or statutory, in the above entitled action, enters the following plea. Alleged defendant does not plead. I cannot plead in a court of contracts. This is one of my first times, so I didn't even put the case number here. And here where it says your signature, I signed it there, but you should probably print your name there, and then make another line right under it, and then sign that, like under a shareholder or near a shareholder, maybe to the right of it. This is just an example. And make sure you get your case number. Make sure the date that you put here for entry of plea, if you do this, put the date of the court date, not the date that I filed it. This was the date that I actually got it notarized by the Notary Public, as you see here in the next page. So you see here, next page, but Title 28, United States Code, Judiciary and Judicial Procedures, Section 454, Practice of Law by Justices and Judges, page 143. Any justice or judge appointed under the authority of the United States who engages in the practice of law is guilty of a high misdemeanor. And in section 607, practice of law prohibited. An officer or employee of the administrative office shall not engage directly or indirectly in the practice of law in any court of the United States. Further, let it be advised that all actions commenced against me may be in violation of United States Code Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, and 241, conspiracy against rights. Now, the whole purpose of this is because when you don't plea under civil procedure, I believe that they're supposed to put in a plea for you. But since you challenge jurisdiction in propria persona, making a special visitation or a special appearance, they have to prove jurisdiction first before they can just put in a plea. So that's why you put this here, because if a judge does that, he is practicing law by putting in a plea for you. He's not your attorney. He's not representing you. He's just the trier of fact. He's not the prosecutor. And this is just for your notary public, because you have to get everything notarized. They want an ID normally. State ID. Around this time I had a state ID. I don't have a state ID now. Like state driver license and all that. I did have driver's license when I won. It doesn't matter. You have to waive jurisdiction for them to have jurisdiction over you. And by challenging jurisdiction, you're definitely not waiving. So you see here how I put print name, and I put the signature after shareholder. That's what I was talking about to do on the first page. This here is just your notary stamp. When you go to the notary, you leave all this stuff blank. Like right here it says submitted 10th day of December. You're going to leave the bottom blank until you go to the notary public. It cost me $1 when I used to go to notary. But now, it can probably be like $5 for, they might do $5 for one visit. Or who knows, if they want to do $5 per stamp. But basically, they put this stamp here. They fill all this stuff out. And they're basically certifying that you came in, and this is you, your name, and your signature, and that you made this paperwork, basically. That's all you need them for.